Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Dino the Ops Guy with Production Management and Practice, or Stardew Production Management 101. This is basically a course in production management where we start from the production environment. In this case, the production environment is Stardew Valley, the game. You can get it on Steam and other platforms. So essentially, we play it as if, we play it, the game, but I run this course as if it's sort of you're a co-op student or you're shadowing me in the factory, and we go through different situations and explain what does it mean from a production management environment. What does the literature say? What kind of learnings is there for that? How do we properly address it or take it apart, whatever the case. So hopefully that's a good premise. We are on episode 50, which means we have done this 49 other times. You do not have to see all of them. Certainly, they run one per day, so we are on day 50, whatever that is. I think it's day 22 in summer. That notwithstanding, if there's any, because it is more of a course than a run through, if you want to see different aspects of the course, then just jump around and take whatever you want. That's really meant to be how it is. So starting from whatever situation we're in no particular order based on what we're exposed to. But hopefully giving you all the inside scoop on what you need for production management. So I'm Dino the Ops Guy. I do strategy side stuff. So we'll talk a bit about strategy. Eventually we're going to get to Av, who's the man on the floor. This is the end of summer, so looking a week before fall, looking for the fall layout, because one of the directions I want to give Av is basically to start preparing for the fall situation. Because we have an iron watering can, we can water 5 plots at a time, so that kind of changes our optimum plot arrangement. It used to be 3s, now we can do 5. You can still do a 3 with a iron watering can, but 5 is a little more efficient. So the idea being, right against the walkway there, we'll have 3 rows, like rows of 3 plots, and then space and a space for the scarecrow. I usually leave 2 spaces in the scarecrow lane just because it's hard to see directly behind the scarecrow. We had that problem in spring. So it's nice to leave an extra space and then just calculate out to make sure the scarecrow covers what the scarecrow needs to cover to save your plots from crows, not scares. But so the idea being, have a set of 3, 2 empties, and then a set of 5, and then we set the scarecrows accordingly. I don't know that Av has to use exactly these scarecrow positions, but I want to make sure that they do work out, and then Av can do whatever makes the most sense, because there's always a little bit of tweaking at the end that has to be done, that as a strategist I'm really not privy to or not in a position to opine. So this is sort of the structure. Because we already have some quality sprinklers, one of them is going to support the corn that we already have in place. So that was beginning early on. And in the code I'm using here, CO13, I think it's been there for 13 days. So any negative number is a perpetual crop, or basically a crop that has regrowth. And it starts at -1 and works on. So that corn is ready, is basically harvest grade every 4 or 5 days, whatever the regrowth for corn is. They'll come back. Then we have a couple other corn next to it. So I'm putting that in, and all the spaces, I'm putting another quality sprinkler next to that. All the spaces around it that are not corn, I'm going to put either cranberries, the CR-1, or in one case I figured we should have some eggplant just in case. So I'm throwing the eggplant there because it's also a regrowth crop. But the rest of the corn we're just going to mow down. So there's some corn in this, on the right, the 5x5s area, or the 5x, I guess it's 10 now, or whatever the case. So all of that we're going to put pumpkins in. And we're going to actually sacrifice those corn plants for the pumpkin. We only need 2 more golden corn to get our strategic interests, because there's a quality crops that requires corn or pumpkin, but we could get the corn faster. And then the rest we'll put in the quality sprinklers, those H's, in areas farthest from the water source. So we don't have to work as far, essentially, for the ones we do have to water. And the idea there is we have a whole bunch of mixed seeds and a whole bunch of mixed flower seeds that this is a great season to plant those. So we're going to plant pumpkin. We're going to plant eggplant. We're going to plant yams. You can see those with, and we're also going to do some sweet gem berries likely. They're very, very expensive and you can't eat them, but you can feed them to the statue in the secret forest for an extra, I don't know, star drop, the special star thing. So that's nice to have, and they do return a fair bit of money, all things considered. So they pretty much take the whole season to grow. So they'll need a sprinkler helps there, but as well around the honey, we're going to have grapes as our guard where we used to have hops, and we're going to have fairy rose, and we're going to fertilize those fairy rose. Normally it's a 12 grow cycle, but we're going to try and get some speed grow or some deluxe speed grow to make it 11 or 10, just so that we can get those honey faster and get more return, because the difference between wild honey at 100 and a fairy rose honey at 680 or whatever it is a lot. It's just tremendous. So again, this is early. We are not 100% wedded to this. Sort of the code that you're seeing here, the yellowed area, light yellowed area, are each covered by a different scarecrow. The darker, the brighter yellow is really covered by 2 scarecrows. So that's sort of extra protected. We don't need extra protected, but it's just to show that the scarecrows have coverage of everything we need. The little orange boxes are chests, or I guess in one case it's actually the mayonnaise machine. And then the sort of the pink behind the brown is the shadow. The weekend plant stuff there just won't be able to see it. So from a visibility standpoint, I try not to plant anything there. So that's the plan going forward. And I want to give Av sort of a heads up to say, this is where we're thinking. Start preparing the farm for this type of arrangement. And I think that makes it clear enough. And as things change, we can work with Av to make those changes. So for day 50, we do have these objectives. It's not raining today as it was yesterday, so we do have to water some crops, harvest whatever's available, pet and process the animals. Essentially, when I say process the animals, I mean let them out for sure. They like that. But the animal products, so we'll get some milk and we'll get some eggs, and we'll be able to convert those to cheese or mayonnaise respectively. And then prepare the farm for fall based on the map that was there. If there's some free time, forage, mine, knock yourself out. So hopefully that's pretty clear. I'm going to turn it over to Av because I know he's really good at this. I'll let him do his thing. Take it away, Av. Okay, thanks, Dino. It's a great day to be on the farm. The spirits feel neutral today. We have a seasonal calendar up front, and it's going to be sunny tomorrow. Did it say rainy? I miss it. We'll check that in the morning. So, okay, put some wood into the kiln because we do want as much, right now, as much coal as we can get. We got some mushrooms, including purple mushrooms. Those are good. Those we found out last episode are even better than the cauliflower in the jars. So we're going to make that change. We got some poppy honey while it's still summer. A fair bit of blueberries. That's awesome. Some hot pepper, well, we got hops from a few places. We'll put those hops in the special hops chest, which is the special minerals chest. And we'll put some coffee in there as well. So I will eventually put the fruit, including none in the fruit cave, but including the peach at some point. But let's grab the peach and head over and work with the cows. And the goats. We got some new goats. They're so cute. So get the cows, and we're milking the cows. We're just getting regular milk now, not large milk, but that'll change fairly quickly. We didn't refill the hay in the cows, but I think we should do it here. I did put that first duck egg into the incubator so that we could get another duck. not right away, but for free. So this is what Dino was talking about as far as error proofing or as far as quality control. So I pulled up that screen that shows all of the animals on the farm and if they've been pet. So that is sort of a stopgap way or gauge, if you will, to say, did we get it or not? And we'll kind of try and keep track of times that we didn't get them all, and for what reason. Was one hiding, or were there two one on top of each other, or was I just going too fast and picked up an egg and thought it was a pet but it wasn't a pet? Because that happens occasionally. But we do want to stay on top of that from a quality standpoint. Dino and I did talk about putting quality as one of the topics today, but we got a couple other topics, including preparing for summer. And at the end, he wanted to talk about zero-based budgeting, again, preparing for, sorry, it's not summer, fall, preparing for fall. So we will do that. We're going to be around the farm, so we're going to put coffee beans in the keg. And then once we see that it's ready, we will put the hops and make the pale ale, because that's a little more forgiving time-wise. So we do want to clear things up a little bit at least. We do not want to sigh away those mahogany seeds, or the sort of the small plants that are going to be mahogany trees. So we got to be a bit careful there. But in the idea of making them big so we don't have to worry about sighing them or cutting them down, we're going to make some tree fertilizer. And we brought the makings of tree fertilizer so that if we run out, and I think 5 is not going to be enough, but just so that we can keep adding a little bit and a little bit to get all the ones that we need, that need to be fertilized. This isn't really something that we keep track of in the ledger, the specific areas, trees that we fertilize or not. So we just have to sort of go by ear rather than any sort of planning ahead that we would do. Like we would do for other plants where we do know a lot about the plants and what's going on. So the coffee is now ready. We will put in, I might as well use this last one. Well, we'll put in the hops, and that's going to get us the pale ale, but we don't have to babysit it anymore. It's not like there's a rush for it. So we did put the coffee away. Now we have 3 coffee in reserve. If we are in a rush, then that's what we're going to try and use. But it has to be in a location that's easy to find, that we can remember. And it's sort of the food chest. We can keep it in the A chest, the primary chest, but I decided to keep it in the food chest for now. We may go back on that decision depending on how much use we get of those. The plan really is to sell them, but if we can make use of them, that's not a bad thing either. So we're gonna say hi to Lewis, but and hi to everyone in the shop. Hey, ladies, and then we're going to sell off the blueberries. We don't we kept the base blueberries, but anything above that we're selling, and then of course the mayonnaise and the pickled cauliflower, soon to be pickled purple mushroom. So for a premium. We see some ancient forge sites there. Got some clay out of that. I don't know that a clay is as valuable once you've made your silo. Maybe we should make another silo. We got something hard to pronounce, tribilola, whatever. Basically, it's supposed to be a fossil of an old crab, an ancient crab, I think. So we will get that to Gunther. He's into those sorts of things. There are the children. We'll go say hi to them on the way out. We'll just clear up with Willie first. Sell off what we got, and including that rainbow shell, 450. That's a good return for anything that you forage, for that matter. Say hi to Jazz, right? Say hi to Vincent, and Vincent's brother Sam should be coming along any minute now, but we're not going to stick around for that. We're just going to make our way to the forest. Maybe say hi to Emily. Oh, I see a sweet pea, so we're going to grab that. Nice to forage. I see another sweet pea. It'd be nice to get spice berries or grapes, but we see a lot of sweet peas. What can we do? The nice thing about grapes is they start to grow in the fall. So if we have matches that only requires grapes, then we can fill those. We don't grow spice berries in the fall, but we can get them from the fruit cave. So having a few extra Grapes and sweet pea doesn't really hurt us because we can use whatever spice berry we get from the fruit cave to match and get a good return that way. So we're just sort of randomly filling out trees. We don't have the time to spend to do a clear cut. Oh, there's some rings. Let's take advantage of that. And this one's bouncy. I like this one. And I'm realizing now that we did not fill our lure, our tackle. We do not have the tackle we had before, and that's making it a lot harder. We lost that one. That was probably another pike, but oh, it is what it is. When we get back, we'll have to make an attempt to fill the tackle. There's a sunfish. At least we're getting. I was finding when we were fishing at the ocean lately that it wasn't every 10 seconds, like every 20 seconds. And that's a bit disheartening. And I think that has to do with the rings, of course. But still, once you have expectations that you're going to get things in a decent clip, it's hard to go back, right? So, okay, and we're almost out of energy. So let's take up one of the, there we go, squash, summer squash. We got some spiceberry. That's going to help. Just more or less picking trees that could block the view of something. So we're just sort of making it clear around. We're good. We're going to head into the secret forest, deal with all the green jellies, but also get some hardwood. I'm not aiming my axe all that well there. So, no. Okay, so everyone's, I don't know how it works out, but I think a tab actually changes which row is which, and I think it's supposed to be a good feature, but for me it's a terrible feature because then I have trouble getting it back to I want this weapon. I need my weapon now. So I try and avoid the tab button. I can probably change it in the format or the controls page, but never really worked on how to do that. So I just complain about it. It's nice to complain sometimes, I guess. Probably not for you, but let's move on. So we're going to head back. Just from the standpoint of, I wanted to get to the walkway down here, but now that I see these weeds, I think it's worth clearing those up. At some point, I should fix the walkway to be a proper double. So we're going to refill the mayonnaise and the cheese press, mayonnaise machine and the cheese press. So that's a good thing. And in the process, because it's dark, we're going to close the barn and coop door. And the cheese I want to save because that's going to be very valuable once the casks come. And we can age the cheese and get a decent return. But that's not for a little while, at least until, what is the cask? Is it level 10? Level 9 farming? It's something higher up, so it's not available right away. So we have a couple fish we want to sell. I want to keep the pike. And we can get rid of that green algae as well. So let's sell the sunfish. Still kind of sorting through. I do want to plant that mahogany. That's going to be a good thing. So let's move the mahogany up. Get as much hardwood grove as we can. And again, you always want to leave 2 spaces, like not plant them next to each other, because even though they can become small trees next to each other, they will not get full size if they're next to a full-size tree. So grape is good. Let's head up to the train station and see if there's anything that we've missed up there. Oh, it's already midnight. It's getting late. So I don't see any stones. I was kind of hoping for more stones. We got some weeds, so we'll take those. And we got a grape. I like that. So it's getting that time. So let's get back. Now, given that we have a couple of grapes and I think we have 1 or 2 spiceberry, we'll be able to see when we get back to that bee chest. It's a great time to make summer seeds and then convert those to tea saplings because that's really good return. So let's actually grab all of that fiber and do exactly that. So we got, 2 of each. We can do 2. And then we are out of grape and out of spiceberry. But we get a really good return for the tea saplings. I like good returns. That's where I get my that's my happy place. So okay. Fill up the kiln. We probably still have time to do a little more. Whatever we can. I guess the closest thing would be chopping wood. So let's sort of focus on that if we got some time, and we actually can make a keg. So let's bring what is it? Copper and iron. I know we got the resin, so we'll put that together and bring a hops, and then we're good. And we've run out of time. We're not going to get another tree, so it's time for bed. Okay, fair bit of return. It's like almost 4,000 just in the shipper, not counting what we sold over the counter to Willie and to Pierre. So it's going to be rain all day tomorrow. It's raining today as well, and the spirits are happy, so that's a good thing. And we will plan, Dino, we will have you move that information into the vital critical stuff, and we'll carry on. Back to you, Dino. Okay, thanks, Hat. Wow, 2 rainy days in a row. Well, we got the sturgeon. Otherwise, it would be a good day to have the sturgeon. But it's it's the old saying. I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it. So I'm looking at a sturgeon rather than looking for a sturgeon, and that makes me happier. So either way, but we did want to water and harvest crops. We did that. We did pet the animals. And that quality control thing is what Av was talking about. There's that screen you can pull up to see all of your animals and if you've pet them that day. So using that at the end is a nice kind of check or sort of a gauge to say, did we get everything? And if there's something that we missed, we can look for patterns on how we missed that. And that gets to a bit of the quality program. Hopefully we'll get to that in the next episode. I can talk a bit about the quality program and just how that works in production management. So free time, we actually found some fishing rings. Av's got to fix the tackle though. We didn't have the right tackle for the pike. Did get one pike though. You can't complain about that. So that's all good. But I did want to look going forward what the sort of what the structure is going to be like, and I do want to use this as an opportunity to talk about zero-based budgeting. In the last couple of decades, it's got a lot of hype, and let me get to what that actually means. So zero-based budgeting is we're not going to continue with trends. We are going to one by one allocate all the dollars, and I mean to some extent that's just budgeting. Right? I mean that's what it is. But essentially have all the dollars sort of allocated to the specific things. And I am not tempted to do any like sort of old school budgeting. I shouldn't even call this old school. It's just so the thing that worked out with zero-based budgeting is if you don't know how to budget and you're a manager, the temptation and the sort of the trend was always, I spent 10,000 last year, I spent 10 million last year, whatever the case. So I'm going to budget for 10 million again, or 10 million plus inflation, or heck, if I'm a bit insecure, 10 million plus 10%, whatever the case. But based on a trend that happened before, and that's sort of the primary. If people just didn't understand proper budgeting at all or didn't care to, but as well, the second thing is there are some times where people will go through a specific budget, but just don't have the time to sort of audit or address every item, and maybe some of them are a bit fat from the standpoint that. We haven't looked for a new contractor in that area for years, and maybe there's a bunch of that are cheaper, or maybe there's a new way to approach it, that sort of thing. Maybe instead of buying, we should rent, and it's going to be better off. There isn't a lot of time typically in a budget period because people think budgeting doesn't take any time at all. That you can address everything. So a couple of companies came along, I think 3G Capital was one of them, and said we're going to go back to zero-based budgeting. And that really helped from the standpoint that if you train all your people to do a proper budget, as opposed to just extending whatever was spent the year before. If you have give people the time to actually go through and vet a lot of the contractors, vet a lot of the expenses, then you can save some money. And that's a really good thing. However, when private equity is involved, which is 3G is a private equity company, there's some expectations. So, for example, If I clean my couch seats and I find there's $10 in change because I haven't cleaned them in 10 years, I'm $10 ahead. That's awesome. I should do this every day, and that would make $10 a day, and it won't because the thing is that one-time correction doesn't end up over and over again. And I think in a lot of the private equity sense, there was some expectation that if you saved $1 million by going to a zero-based budget, you'd save $1 million the next year and the next year because you're going to continue doing zero-based budgets, and it just doesn't work that way. Once you've cashed in, you've cashed in. And so is zero budgeting great? Yes, absolutely. If you have the time for it, if people are educated, it's a great way to go. Or in my case, if you don't have any trends to continue. But it's not, it sort of got overhyped as, this is the way we're going to save all business and save millions and bazillions of dollars and whatever. And it's not really all that. It's just a way to budget. So, given that I don't have any trends, I do have to start with, well, I know bee houses are a big money maker, so I got 12 bee houses that I can make poppy honey in. Of course, that's only just this week 8, the end of summer. So, but in that week, I know it's 7 days, and I know I get a honey every 4 days, so I can do the calculation for a 380 value on honey to say I am expecting almost $8,000 in week 8 just on poppy honey. Well, after the poppy honey is done and come fall, there's going to be a week or two, pretty much a week or two that we get wild honey. I think it's 10 days. I worked out 12 days or something like that. So those days we're going to see wild honey in week 9 and week 10. And then we're going to convert to fairy honey. And we know that's going to be in week 10. Fairy rose honey, week 10, week 11, week 12. So we can actually track these out in kegs. That's sort of the next big place we're making money. I know if I'm using hops until I run out of hops, and then melon. The thing is, my inventory in hops is I won't run out of hops. Having said that, we've already added one more keg. Maybe we'll add more kegs. So we'll keep the melon in reserve. But for now, we're making money on a faster track, not necessarily more per hour, per day, whatever. We're just doing it per day. We're doing it a lot faster. So just with hops and pale ale, because it only takes a day and a half versus 3 or 6 and a quarter. So, and then in jars is the next one, and we can go through cauliflower. We have 9 of, and then we can convert to peach, and then come fall, our peach tree won't produce, but we'll have an apple tree. So if we have 3 jars for an apple tree, that's just going to flow because I'm just going to do apple first, apple second, apple third, and then the first one's ready again. So I just said flow there. We're looking at $17.50 each. We have 4 other jars so far, and maybe we'll get more. But let's say, it's going to be $200 per jar, which isn't hard to do, whether we're using fiddlehead fern or other. We do have a fair bit of inventory we can put in, but not specifically. But you're looking at $1,800 a week. Looking at mayonnaise, I got 3 chickens. I haven't included the duck in there because that's going to come. That's going to make it a little higher. If I have pumpkins that I'm not using in any jars or kegs, I'm looking at $12,000 selling pumpkins base, because just looking at the 320, both in week 10 and week 12. So essentially we can look for how much money we're going to get in those weeks. And if we do want to allocate that money, for example, if I'm looking at doing a deluxe barn, that's going to be $25,000. Well, that kind of covers everything but $1,000. We're going to be short $1,000 week 8. Now we'll be able to make up that 1,000 through foraging or through other things, so that's not a big stretch. But there is sort of that matchup that this is about how long it's going to take for that barn. And the deluxe coop is going to be in week 9, and fixing the bus, we're going to do it in 2 sections in week 10 and week. It may be a bit tight to get it all in week 10, but that gives us the desert. So there is sort of the structure of the budget we're looking at, starting with the big things that we're going to make money on revenue-wise, working down. There's some stuff we're not going to cover because it's just less and less diminishing returns. And then Is that money going to be used for profit? Where is it going to go? And let's budget that now. So that's sort of the zero budget approach. Hopefully that makes kind of sense to you. So that's all we got for now. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments section. Other than that, this is Dino the Ops Guy, signing off.